be sharing my screen right now. All right, so believe we all can see my screen, right? Is anybody with me, or I am alone? Are you hearing me?
Yes, we can see your screen.
All right, thank you.
Yes, we can.
All right, that's very great. So this is the data that Colin sent to us, so everybody can access it. Now I assume that this data are collected with GPS in different location, and then like I said, we are not interested in elevation for today. Maybe next time we're going to work with elevation, where we can create contour and also bring building footprint to build a topographic survey, because the next project we are going to have after this, that everybody here must know how to create a purely topographic survey. That is topographic map. There will happen when we finish talking about line feature, which is road, waterways, and rest of them. And when we also talk about polygon feature, which is building, then I will teach you different data source, how you can get building footprint, and then get it solved on, and we will be able to build a purely topographic survey, which is a type of map which contain both physical and man-made and the physical configuration of a place. So you can build a purely topographic survey showing road network, waterways, building, elevation, street light, and rest of them. So for now, we are not going to be dealing with this aspect of the data. So I can now remove this. So I am deleting this. I'm also deleting the name. Now in Excel, I believe all of us know how to work with Excel. Now this is what he have us here, the name. So I am going to just change this type to name, and then here is the long latitude and longitude according to Collins. Here there is a space here, because Excel data is supposed to not have this space. I'm going to right click here and then delete this row, and both of them merge. I will also go down. What I'm just doing now is little data cleaning, which I am going to show us in the future how you can use Python to do this thing I do, because with Python you can read this file without having to open it the way I open it like this. So you can see here, I'm still scrolling down, there is a space here, because if you leave this data like this and you put it in ArcGIS, you're going to be having an error because it doesn't understand that part. Oh yeah, go ahead.
Please, I'm not seeing the screen.
This thing is village people, sometimes they come in many ways. Is anybody seeing the screen? Is it only her? All of us are not seeing
Yeah,
the
I
screen.
can see your screen.
You can see your
I can see
screen.
your screen.
You can see my screen. So
Check your own if it's not minimized.
yeah, maybe village people, sometimes they work in many ways. Maybe I can stop sharing. Let me stop sharing, and I'm going to share again. Maybe that's the problem. All right, so tell me when you see it. If you're not seeing it, you also let us know. Maybe we can send somebody to quickly run to Wiri now to help you fix it up. I think there are people that can run very fast. Are you seeing it?
Yes, I can see your screen.
All right, great. So what I'm doing is that I am just going through the data to see where there is space. Like I said, you need to clean out this normally before you import it into ArcGIS or using Software, any of the software we are going to use, because this thing I'm also going to show you in Software, and one of why it is we have advantage of using Software for several reasons. But for now, what I'm just looking at is I am gradually following the line, looking for where there is space or where there is title according to the way Collins gave us. So you can see now from number 1 to the last, I can't see any place we have unnecessary data like the title, except from the number 1. So you can see down here, and I am in line 800, 900, and you can see from here we have the clean data up to 1203 lines, that is rows. Now what next do I need to do? I'm going to click here and click save as, because I just opened it directly from WhatsApp. So I'm going to browse location. I'm just going to save it in download. So this is also what you're going to do. So I'm going to write the point as Collins. So now remember that there are different other type of format here. So it's also good you use CSV UTF-8, comma, delimited, like you can see. I will explain this type of format when at due time, but all you need is to put it like this. So I click on save as and I save it. Now this data have been saved. Ignore this, click yes at any point in time on this. Now when this is done, this is Collins, as you can see. Now I am going to close this and go down to my ArcGIS, as you can see here. So this is my ArcGIS here. I'm using ArcGIS 10.8, which is the one I shared with us on WhatsApp. So I want you also to follow that same way. Now I'm going to double click to launch it, and then it is coming up. Now I already remember my data have been saved and I name it as Collins right here. Now I'm waiting for my ArcGIS to open. So for some of us, our system are not fast. It might take like 5 years to open. Let's hope it didn't delay us much. So it is coming up and then it is loading. While it is loading, one of the reasons, like I said, I asked Pablo, Chinemezu, and one other person to give us some of this definition is that I don't want us to spend much time on it, but all of us understand what we mean by point cloud. So I believe nobody have question as related to this coordinate here. This is the name and this is the latitude and longitude. So these are things you just need to know. Now when you come up here, I don't have any map, so I'm just going to close this. I have my normal ArcGIS. Now one thing I want you to know is that every layer have a coordinate system by going to the properties, just like we have treated before. Now you see here there is no coordinate system it assigned here, no coordinate system. But the whole thing is that once I import the data here, based on the format the data is, it will automatically assume that coordinate system that this thing have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here. Now to add a data, now what it means is that we are creating a shape file of point feature. We are creating a shape file of point feature. That's what we want to do. So how do we interact with these data? Now what I'm going to do is that here is where you import data. This is what we have been doing. You read in the data that is existing, like this shape file, as you can see here. When I click on it, you see it come here because it is a shape file that is already existing. So this is what I was working on. So it is a shape file I've created and it's already existing. But you don't do that same thing when it comes to a new point in Excel. So I am going to like remove it because that's not what I want to show you. I just want to show you the way you import this other one. You go to the right hand side here. This is imagery based map and add to ArcGIS Online. Another way to add data is to right click on the layer. You can add the data here. Another way you can also add the data is to go to catalog, go to directory where you have these data and then drag it inside. But what we are going to do today is that we are going to click on file up here where we have file here, and when you click on file you will see add data. Go to add data, scroll down to where you have XY. There are other people who add by dragging the Excel sheet into here. That will work as well, but normally for you to choose which one is which one, you just go here and it brings you this add XY data. Now when you click here, there is no data here because there is no data showing on this. So you have to click on this to browse to the location where it is. For me, I don't want to waste my time like the way I don't like time wasting. So I always do something. I'll go, it is in download, and I'll go to directory where this data is saved. So if you go to download, you will see Collins where I save it as Collins here. So if you can browse the part of this data Collins, so I can go here and copy the parts. Like right click on it and I can say copy part, which is here. I'll go back to ArcGIS. That is the directory, the location where it is located. If I paste it, you understand what I mean. It means I'm looking for a data that is named Collins user in Chuku directory, download and Collins data. So this is just what it means. That is the directory. I don't want to waste my time browsing to look for it. So once I copy this directory and paste, it will automatically take me to the location. You can see the location here. See Collins here. I'll click on the Collins and then I'll click on add data. Now it is asking me to define the longitude and latitude. Because it is already written longitude and latitude, it will automatically detect it, and you can see the coordinate system is here. Once this is done and you click OK, it's going to ask you this question: data Table does not have object ID. All this thing is just you read through it. It's trying to tell you that something is missing. Do you want me to add it? I will say okay. Then it will read the point. As you can see, automatically this is coming into ArcGIS. Now this is all the point that Collins gave to us. So it is scattered in different places. See this one up here, this one here, this one here. I don't know where it is, but I just assume that it is okay based on his arrangement. Now you can see it have the name, the latitude, the longitude, and the shape means this is a point. This is automatically created for you, and then you can see it down here. Now you see here, if I zoom close to here, you can see where this point is located. It is located on a particular interval. I don't know the type of survey this man was doing. He was just moving around. As you can see, he's just down here. And now what do I need to do? I am going to create a folder here. Now I want to right click anywhere and click on new, and then I'm going to create a folder and I'm going to call it Collins. Now this is the folder I want to save my data because ArcGIS come with a lot of data, so I don't want it to just be generating everywhere. So I'm going to right click here and click on this. This is an event file. You can see csv.event means that you cannot even make analysis on this. You cannot query. When we start working on query like building spatial analysis, that's selection, but you see here this thing is not active because this is an event data. But the moment we right click on the data, click on data here, click on export, and then it will open. We go to where we want to save it. I want to save it on the location which I copy, which is this Collins here. And then I will always open what type of file you want to save. Save it as a shape file here. And then once you do it, now I want to save it inside download Collins. Now look at the folder I created here. It's empty. But once I click, go back to ArcGIS and click on save, and then this is Collins, as you can see here. This is the folder. Once I click save and then I click OK, it's going to export it, and it asks me, do you want to add the exported file? I say yes. Now if you go back to the folder of Collins, you can see what it generated. This means a lot of different things. Projected, this is database dbf, this is shapefile, this is the projection, contain the projection. If you want to explore it, for those of us who want to explore something, if you open this with, and I can open it with let me open it with Notepad. Just open it once, you will see that this is the coordinate system that it automatically put in up here. Now you can see that it is WGS, datum of WGS 84, spheroid of WGS 1984. You can see the parameters of that is semi-major axis and semi-minor axis, which is the flatten. These are what save the coordinate system, and that is the reason these things you see here is the reason why if I send this data now to Collins and Collins import it, it will assume this coordinate system, as you can see. So now if you look at this, because this data is here, if I go to selection, you see this thing is highlighted because it is not an event file anymore. So I can remove this. What I need now, this is a shape file. Now with this shape file, I can do a lot of things. Now to see, this is the first way you can bring a point features into ArcGIS environment. So I can right click and zoom to layer, and you can see the extent what Collins sent to us. So probably I might not really want to work with all of them because it is scattered. Now in this way, this is where we are going to work with the second aspect, which is what I ask Pablo to tell us about point density. Now assuming you want to do point, there are different analysis we are going to do, which I'm not going to bother us today because we are going to do what we call nearest neighborhood analysis and rest of them. But when it comes to density, you see how all these points is scattered. So if we want to now check what is the density, where do we want to create a heat map, where is this point more scattered? There are many ways you can apply to it. Assuming these are way, maybe this is voters where people vote and these people vote. So with this you can know where people vote more or less if they are point feature. You can know where there is high clustered or where there, if you look at the clustered, how it goes. So on this case, I'll be going back to my browser and I will go back to where we have our folder, and I'm going to download Nigerian states here. Click here, and then Once I click on the Nigerian state, the folder which all of us are using, so I want to download the Nigerian state where all the states in 36 states are hold. So it is currently scanning. And once it's done scanning, this is the same folder you have access to. So once it's done scanning, I will return back to my download, which is where it's downloaded it. You can see the Nigerian state here. Then I will right click it, and then I'm going to click on extract file. So it is asking me, do you want to extract it? Yes. Show after extracting. No, I don't need it to show. I just need it to extract for me. Now it have extracted it, as you can see here, Nigerian state. It was a zip folder. Then I can come here. Also, I don't want to waste my time, so I always come here to copy the directory, and then I will go back here and click on add data. Why am I adding data? Why don't I go to where I put XYZ? Because it is already in shapefile. What I want to import now is already in shapefile, so I can import it by just clicking here, and then you can see the Nigerian state here. I'll double click and open, double click and open, and this is the Nigerian state. When I click on add, I'll have all the Nigerian state. Now you see, Collins give us a point in around Taraba. Is this Taraba or where? Yeah. And then Adamawa. Okay. He also give us point in Ebonyi state. Another one is in close to Abia state and somewhere there. Another one is close to this, yeah, River state, and then in Lagos state. Now you can see the way the point is. So for our own case, I can choose to work with Adamawa, which is what I'm going to show us now. So now, remember what we see, we have created a point, so this is how we can work. Either you go to feed and collect data, either somebody give you a connect from AutoCAD, either somebody send you a file from GPS. This is how you can bring it into ArcGIS environment by this simple method I show you. So with this, you can import this point into ArcGIS. And if you have a 3D point, which is the elevation, you can work on creating contour with this and rest of them. But for the sake of what I said, you can see here we have the point Adamawa. As you can see here, this is the place that is more clustered. So for me, I just want to work with this part of Adamawa, like for a little explanation. Now, how do I make this? You remember, I just want to talk about query on what we did last time, because if I want to select point in Adamawa, I can just highlight it like this, and all the point in Adamawa is selected. If I go to the attribute information, you will see that about 475 points have been selected, which is the one in Adamawa. This is the first way I can select it, by location, by just dragging and select. Which other way can I select again? I can select Adamawa and then go to select by location, and I can say select by location. I will say select the point that is located in by location, and I will query, and you see Adamawa is selected. Now, why? You can see every other thing here is selected. Now, because I say select all the point within Nigeria location. That is another way. Another way I can still do the same thing is to click here to clear selection. The another way I can do the same thing is here. This is a layer. I can select it by using attribute, and you can see here this is supposed to be selected, so you can query which up for the point that is located within here, and you're able to select it. But for the meantime, we have talked about this. I'm going to select this, and only Adamawa is selected. I can right click on the layer of Collins, which is the point here, go to selection and say create record, that is create layer from the selected features, and you see now I have another layer. What it means is that the only one I selected, I created a new layer now, is this one I selected. You see every other thing run away except this one, so I want my focus to be on this. So I can zoom to layer, and this is what I have here. So based on this, I am going to work on what we call point density, like what I showed. I asked Pablo to talk to us about, and on that case, I am just going to make a demonstration a bit. How do I make the demonstration? I am just going here, go to the location I save this data. Where do I save this data? I want to save this here by going to the location, go to home. I'm going to download, and then I'm going to still save it inside where I have Collins. So I'll go inside here and save the data as Collins, and I will save it as a map, and that saves in here automatically. If I go here, it have created a home here for me. So I just want to create, go to right click on home, go to new here, and I just want to create a shapefile of polygon. So I'm going to write it AOI, which is area of interest, is going to be a polygon because I want to use a polygon to do example of point density. So I'm going to geographic, and I'm going to world, and I'm going to WGS 1984, which is exactly what I am looking for. So I'm looking for WGS 1984, as you can see here. I'll click OK. Now I've defined the new shapefile I'm creating. We'll be talking about polygon next time, but I just needed to like create a polygon over here to be able to use this to explain what I mean by point density, like creating a density map. So in this case, you can see here, this is what I have here. Then look at the area of interest I've created. There is no information here because it does not have any information. So for me, I will right click on it, go to edit, and start editing. And when I start editing, it will bring this thing by the right hand side here. I will click on it, and this will appear here. Different, what do I want to create, how do I want to create it? So let me create polygon or rectangle, any of them can work. So let me create a rectangle. How do I click rectangle? I just click here and just drag it around like this. So I've created a rectangle over this point, like randomly. Then I will go here and say stop editing. It will ask me, do you want to save this point? I will say yes, and that will automatically save that. Then I'll turn off this because what I just wanted to show us is why I put Nigerian state is that I wanted us to see how far the point that Collins gave to us, how far it covered Nigeria. But for now, we'll be working on this particular small shapefile I created. Now, what do I mean by point? By density. Density, like we said, to get to this, we'll be exploring this a bit, but I just want to like us to touch a bit on density, what we mean by density, and then like Pablo explained to us in our WhatsApp group, that's exactly what I want you to understand. But for now, I just want you to see different things you can do with point. There are so many of them we are going to explore because I am going to teach you this Act toolbox and each and everything that each of these things work for. So we'll go to the one, I'll tell you what 3D feature work, how raster interpolation work, what do you use raster classification to work. Then we'll go to the next one, which will be analysis. I'll tell you what analysis work. I'll go to overlay, I'll tell you what overlay work. I'll go to proximity, I'll tell you what proximity works, and then I'll go to statistic, I'll tell you what statistic works. So these are different things I am going to tell you one after the other. Now, what we just need to do is like, we just want to talk about density. So in this Act toolbox, sometimes you might be looking for a particular thing and you don't know where it is. You have the right to come here, to search here, and then click on density. But I always tell people it is nice you know where every of them is located. Because if you click on density, it's going to, yeah, go ahead. I thought somebody raised hand. Okay, nobody's raising his hand. So what I'm saying is that if you want to talk about density, you can probably go here and click on search density, and you're able to see what density means. So it is under spatial analyst. But like I said, it is nice you know where it is located. You go down to the spatial analyst, like you can see here, you can see density here. But I just want us to talk about point density. Now if you go to point density here, you double click on it, what is it going to bring out? It's going to bring you this, calculate the magnitude per unit area for point features that fall within a neighborhood around each cell. So now what do we want to calculate? We want to do a point, so I'm going to put Collins selection, which is this point you see here. I want to calculate how the density within this neighborhood we have here. So that is why I'm going to select the Collins I have there. Now population feed, I don't have any population feed, so I'm going to leave it by none. Where do I want to save it? Let it save it wherever I want to save it. Then every other thing I'm going to leave it default. But what I want to show you here, every other thing can come default depending on what you're doing. But I want to restrict this thing to environment. So first and foremost, I'm going to run it first without this thing I want to show you, which is environment. So I'm going to click OK to show you what I want to show you. Then I will go back again to put the environment and show you the difference between one of them. You want to appreciate this one, we'll be doing analysis. Then like for example, we want to know where what happened. a magnitude of something over a place, and then that's when you're going to appreciate that. But the whole thing is that I want to show you how you can do a point density. Now the point density map has been created, and if you look here, it simply means that from this polygon which we have, I'm going to make it hollow so that you're able to see what is behind it. So I'm going down to hollow, and then let me increase this so that you will see. Now out of here, what this thing is trying to show you is that the density, you see 12 to 12.9, the density is higher here compared to what we have here. So automatically, if this is a disease that is happening, it means that people within this place will be highly affected. If there's fire explosion around here, it means that people here will be highly affected. If this is a bomb, it means that if this bomb explodes here, people staying around will be highly affected, while people staying here will be low, as in will not be muchly affected. Now what does it do? It does this thing by picking the highest point here and pick the highest point here, and that is why it calculated this point density. This can also, some people used to call this thing hotspot analysis. So they use this thing to sometimes make hotspot to see where something is higher and where it is lower. So you can see, let me change this into red. Red is higher and this is lower, and let me change this into about classification of 5, and you see now that this place have a higher density. If there is something that is happening here, if this is flood and the flood happen like this, people within this place will be more affected than people staying around here. Now this is when I put this thing by default. I didn't select the environment, and I want to do the same thing again, the point density, by selecting, going here, doing the same thing, but in this time I'm going to select environment, and I'm going to raster analysis down here, and I'm going to say mask it by the area of interest, meaning mask this thing by area of interest. Now raster analysis, environment, master analysis, mask, and I select the area of interest, which is this boundary. When I click OK, it is going to come down here, and I will click OK again. Now the difference between this, what I did before and what I did now, is what you are going to see now. Now what did it do? It now calculated it based on the extent. No, I got it wrong. Sorry, my bad. Let me check what I did. I didn't get it right. I'm going to do the same thing again, and then I'm going to environment. What did I select? Did I select raster analysis? This is maximum area of interest. Processing extent. I go down to snap raster by GO2. Yeah, what I did was correct, so I don't know what happened. But what I wanted to talk about is that it's supposed to come out bounding the extent of that trade. Like it's supposed to come out clipping this thing to the extent of this, not the extent of where the top and the down is supposed to like get fixed up within this extent, but it is still showing us within the other extent. So I think there is something I am not getting right. Workspace output coordinate as layer as area of interest, and I will leave this in as what it is. Processing extent, this thing is not area of interest, and snap raster to the extent, no. Okay, so what I mean is that maybe I will check this thing out, but what I wanted it to do is that I wanted it to fix it. This is exactly what I want. So what I needed it is that if you look at what I have right now, let me turn every other thing off. If you look at what I have right now, you will see that at the end of the day, it end up giving me this hotspot or whatever you call it within the boundary that I have here. And if it is analysis that I am doing, you'll be able to see that it clip it within the boundary I am working on. When you will be doing one or two analysis as related to this, you will understand, because if you are working on a density map which I'm going to turn off every other thing. Now what it means is this is simple. Here you have a higher concentration, here you have a lower concentration, here nothing is happening. So this is the way you can analyze a cluster. Assuming you go to work and you come back to office and your boss tell you what happened in the field, which part do you cover most, which part was not covered. You won't be able to actually explain to him maybe in the south part, but what people want to see is that this is the green part. The place we have green has no impact. Maybe I didn't cover this much, but this particular place you have red have a higher concentration. Now, even if you turn on this point and go there, you will see that within this place have a higher cluster. So if this is a disease, this is issue of disease that is moving around here, and you have this number of people affected, it means that this is where the magnitude is higher. Here it is lower, and if you see the place it overlap, as you see here, have a red, while the other place that is not affected is not showing any color. So when it comes to density, like Pablo told us and like I showed us here, when you go to spatial analysis, you will see the meaning of density and able to know what do you use density for. By clicking on density here, you can see that you use density to calculate the magnitude area A point feature that fall within the neighborhood of each of a cell. So this is what you use all these things to do. Now the next analysis we will be doing again using this type of point is if you are working an electrical line and they want to know what is the distance between this road. Maybe there is a road that come across here and this is electric pole. What is the distance between each of them to the electric line? When we start doing our analysis here, we are going to explore each of these tools one after the other. Now the little thing I just want to show you before I move to the next aspect of it is the aspect of, let's say you have you are asked to label this. You can go right here and click on label, and you can see that each of these have the point features. As you can see here, this is it, and at any point in time you can change these things to another thing you want to change it to. As you can see here, I am changing this point to green, to this kind of point. So let me turn off the layer that shows us this so that you can see what I'm doing. Now each of them you can label it with this, and you see it is overlapping, and you can also reduce the size to size 8 or 9 as you see here. Now this is the size coming back small. Now assuming we are doing electricity, this point is point we picked as electric line, which I'm going to show you how you can extract electric line, automatic or electric point, and building footprint or any features of your choice. Assuming this electric line, and that's a spatial analyst, you need to make it look nice. You can just come here and type electric and search here. This is going to bring you a point star that concerned with electric. So it's going to take a bit time depending on the speed of your system. If you are not using good system like us, you are going to have it. So this is everything that have to do with electric pole. For you to beautify what you are doing, you can click on telephone phone. As you see this, it is called telephone pole. You click OK. Now it will make these things look like this. You see the way it is showing, each of them is showing like a real life electric pole. Maybe let me increase it so that people that are not seeing well like us can see it. So you can see now this is the electric pole. If you are creating a topographic map, you can make your map, you can beautify your map by adding this type of way I am adding it up here. You can see the electric pole follow this order. If it is electric pole, you can add it up here. Now if it is whatever it is that comes to your mind, let's say you think it is which other thing, let's say bus stop, let's say bus stop, you can come here and type bus stop and then search. Now you see bus stop here, you can see it coming out here. If it is not a bus stop, it can also be a market. You can come here and type market and search the market here, and this is the icon for market. If it is a school, you can come here and type a school and search. It brings you everything that have to do with school. If it is a hospital, you can come here and type hospital and then search. I didn't write the hospital well. No, the last time I went to school. So it is a search for hospital and it brings the figure for hospital. If it is pharmacy, you can also type it pharmacy and that's also going to bring you details about fancy. So this is a way you can work with a point feature by changing the feature to what it is. Now this is aspect of working with points, and what I just showed you is how you can work with all these points and then bring point into ArcGIS. What if you want to edit point location? If I want to edit this point location, what am I going to do? I don't like the way it is showing. You can edit it manually. Like I want to put these ones here. What you need to do is, let me change it to default point we are using. So let me put it in black and reduce this point to something like 9 and click OK. Now this point has scattered here and I want to edit the location. What do I need to do? You see here that you can right click on the layer and go to start editing. Now once you start editing, you see the way my mouse change. If I drag this thing, the 3 point will be highlighted. Let me turn off the area of interest layer. Let me right click and collapse all layers and turn off this. Now you see this now. I can drag these things around. This is exactly what I'm doing. I can drag this around. I can also go here and select this, and I can also drag it around here, and I can also go here and select this. I put it here. I go here, select this, put it here. I can use the other selection features like lasso, and I can drag like this. I can put it here. See the way I drag here, I take it inside here. See the exactly what I am doing. I drag it and I can change it, and I can drag it around, change it to this, and I can carry this one to here. I can also use circle. I will click the circle here and drag it within here, and then I will go here, select this, and I can move this thing around using this. And then you see what I'm doing, and then change this. I can put it here. You see these things I'm doing here, put it here, it comes here. You see this, I can edit this point the way it is. Now since I've edited this point the way it is, now I want to ask question: who is here? What happened to the coordinates? Is the coordinate going to still be the same thing because I've scattered all these things? Who can answer me?
The coordinate will not be the same again.
Great, so the coordinate is not going to be the same again. So what are you going to do to get this coordinate back? Now let us save this and let us stop editing. Now for you to get this coordinate, I have scattered everything and the coordinate is not the same place again. I am saying this in case you make changes, you make modification and you need to get this coordinate back. What are you going to do? Go to Arc box, go down to data management here, go to feature down here, open the feature. You will see add geometry attribute. Now if you click on add geometry attribute, it's going to bring you something like this. Now once you select the data, which is calling selection, it's going to read. So what it can give us is X, Y, Z and M. Now in this case, I don't want to use here for now. We'll be talking about it. I want to go back to the same place and use add X, Y coordinate. Remember, this is going to add this coordinate based on the coordinate system you have, which is degree, decimal degree. Now this, what you need to do in this case is that as you see this now, click on add XY here, and when you click on add XYZ, select the point and click OK and wait for it. It's going to run the way it is running here, and depending on the speed of your system, it have added the coordinate. Now go to the attribute information and look. You will see that it have added X and it have added Y, and you see automatically this is not the same thing, because this is what Collins gave to us. This is the updated one now. It is not the same thing. So with this, you can extract this and use it to do whatever you want to do. As you see it, I can select all of them by right clicking on the properties here, go to selection, select all of them is selected. Still right click here, go to selection again, go to copy record for selected features, go down to Excel, let me add a new page and I can paste all of them here. Now what do I need to do? Because I've updated it, I'll take this thing out and I can delete this. Now this is the real one now as updated by us here. This is how you can make manual updating. Now as it is, there the way it is. What if I want to know the changes between this? What is the displacement between this one and this one? Now we are working with points. Go ahead if that's hand raising.
Yes, it's like you are too fast.
Okay, I am too fast.
Mm, yes.
All right. Sorry. Let me calm down and give my life to Christ. So, do you miss anything? Do I need to jump back a bit?
No, no. I
Okay.
don't really miss, but the way you are flinging them,
I'm doing the clicking, it's not making sense, right?
it's making sense. You people cannot bear. I hope I'm not the only one that is not encountering the same thing.
Please, I'm with you of your colleagues.
Uh-huh.
I don't make it big. I came in late, sir, but the discussion is very fast. Please.
Okay. All right. But did you understand how I updated this coordinate?
No, I don't understand.
Okay. So I'm going to remove it. So I'm deleting feed, and then I'm also going to delete feed. Now, this is out. What I'm saying is this. This is what Collins gave to us. But I made edit on it, which is by right clicking on it, go to edit and say start editing. Now when I select this, I move it to the right. When I select this, I move it to anywhere I want. I just want to make manual editing. Manual editing. I select this again, I take it this way. I select this again and I take it this way. I select this again and I take it this way. So I just want to scatter the point all over the place. This is just what I want to do. Now, after that, and I ask a
Sorry, sorry.
question.
This,
Yes.
sorry, I need to ask this question. Is it not the coordinate they gave you that you are moving away from the right point?
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
What? You've scattered the work now.
Yes, I am saying if you want to make manual editing, do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, but if you
If
move these points away from the actual point, it has changed the coordinate, has it not?
yeah, to have changed the coordinate more. Yes, it have changed the coordinate, and that's where we said Colin said I'm too fast. So I have to calm down because I wanted to show him after changing the coordinate what happened next. That's what I wanted to show you. And he said I'm fast, so that's why I'm calming down now. So I'm making modification on this coordinate. You can see I will now stop editing. When I stop editing, this is the coordinate. If you go here, the coordinate doesn't change here, but it have actually changed in real life. How do I get back where I have updated this coordinate to? What do I need to do? I'll go to Act Toolbox here. Here. I'll go to Act Toolbox. I'll go to Data Management Tools. I'll click on the plus sign. I'll go to Features. For now, I said add geometry attribute. I said I will leave it for now. We'll talk about it later. But I want to talk about add XYZ coordinates. I'll double click on it. It will open. I will select the coordinate which is calling selection. There are two of them here because there are two callings here, but the one we are working with is calling selection. You know how I created it? I'll click OK. Then I'll click OK. I'll wait for it. It have locked this up. If you see here, it have updated this coordinate here. Now you can see here, this is 11. This thing end with 1 1. This one is different. 1195. This is 1192. This is different. Now this is the way I can update the coordinate of the place I updated. What did I do again? I've updated it, right? I'm going to right click here and I am going to go to edit here. I will start editing. Sorry, that's not what I'm supposed to do. Please let me stop editing. Then I'm going to right click here and I'm going to go to selection. I will say select all the coordinates will be selected. I will go back the same place, go to selection again, and I'll go to copy record for selected feature. I'll copy it. I'm going back to the Excel. So I am going to delete sheet 1 because Colin said I'm too fast. So I will delete it. This is the coordinate he gave to us. I'll click on plus sign here and add next sheet and I'll paste what I copied from GIS. Now I'll click on C, hold shift and click on the right click and click on delete. This is the correct coordinate now as I have moved it and as I have changed it. In case you want to do manual changing, this is the way you can work on this type of a thing. Is that well understood? I believe that is well understood. So now I am going to remove this coordinate. I want to clear. I want to say no now. I want to clear this. I want to remove the initial coordinate Collins gave to us because I've changed it. And I also want to remove this coordinate that Collins gave to us because I want to change it. Now, this thing is longitude and latitude. Remember, if you turn on Nigerian state, Nulu, which zone is this thing located? Based on the first map we produce when we're talking about Nigerian locations. Please, let's be fast because we are running out of time.
It's located on zone 33.
Thank you. So I want to teach you something today. What I want to teach you is that if somebody, this is longitude, and you are and you want to plot it in AutoCAD, AutoCAD doesn't understand this thing, except you're using land development or different other softwares. But AutoCAD 2.7.2.10 does not understand this. It understands something in matrix. So how do your boss need this coordinate now in geography in UTM? How do you convert? Go to here, go to insert, add a new data frame, right click on the new data frame, go to property. Now this is the next thing we are going to talk. I forgot, I told you we are going to talk about study area map before we do this, but I didn't remember. Now I am going to projected coordinate system and I'm going to UTM. I am going back to WGS 84. I am going to the northern hemisphere and I will scroll down to UTM zone 33 according to what Nulu said, and I will click apply and I will click OK. Now if I drag these columns into this place, it automatically in UTM. Look here, it have negative here. If I go here, you see it is in positive. Look here, is here negative, positive. How do I get the coordinate I need to get here? This is in XY, which is in X, which is in decimal degree. But this particular frame is in UTM. I will make sure it's activated. I will do the same thing. Go down here, add a coordinate, open up this, click OK, and click OK. The same clicking that caused problem, I am doing the same thing again. Now automatically, if I open this, I will get this thing in UTM. Why is it not in UTM? Let me check what happened. First, the source is in WGS, which is still in degree. Let's repeat the same thing again. Go to add XY, go to this, select this. Let's go to the environment and then go to the output coordinates, and then in the transformation look for the UTM. You need to convert it here. If you have, this is WGS, so you look for the right coordinate system. You need to locate it, which is the geographic transformation. You want to transform it to that, and with that you can, by adding the column selection, you can now select the coordinate system that it is located and then click on add, and that is going to add it up here. Or the second way you can do is you go here, go to the same data management tools, go to projection here, and then click on define projection or project. Now when you input this column selection, you see it is going to read it here as WGS 1984. Which output do you want to put it? You go to the layer, you go to the projected, go to the world, go to UTM, not world, go to the 1984, go to the northern hemisphere, scroll down to UTM zone 33 and click OK, and you see it here telling you UTM zone 33, and then you come down here, everything is okay, and you click OK. So this is going to project this particular coordinate into UTM, and you can see here this is the output of the point here. And if you look here, you see that it have added it up to a point here. If you turn up this thing is here and all of them is here. If you go to the property, you will see this particular this thing in the UTM zone 33. So with this, you can extract up the coordinates, and if you look here, as I'm moving this mouse, it is in meters. Look down here, this thing is in meters. If I switch down to this layer, it turns to decimal degree. So what am I talking about? You have to be patient with me. I will talk about the study area map because I want us to see how you can work across using the data frame, how you can work across different coordinate system, matrix, and its projected and then geographic coordinate system at the same time. So this is what we are going to be talking about. So I've deleted it, so we are still here. So this is how I want you can edit. And in this columns layer, if you want to add a table, you go to file and click on add field here. What type of field you want to add? Assuming I want to add another field, which is I want to group it, so I can say group. Now in the group, it is a test. If I want it to be a test, if I want it to be a double, we'll be talking about this. But I just want to show you how it works, so I put up a test here. With this, I can edit this layer. Example of where you can edit it is that as it is, okay, Collins and this thing is not the same coordinate because I have reprojected it in the other layer. So that's why it's showing me this. So with this, I can actually type what I want to edit here. Even with this, if I open it up, I can actually make edit on this. As you can see here, as I double click, it is selected and I can enter the number here. Now this is the way I can make changes or add field or modify the information in the attribute table. Now for the sake of time, we will stop here on this and we will dive deeply into it later.